This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Dun, 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 dun.
This is a sham.
No. Y'all, just stop.
Get real.
Welcome to DBL. Is it? It's Friday. Okay. I was so worried that I was going to make everyone excited and then buzzkill.
I was so late that this is the first time I've looked at either of you. I was like, hey guys.
Al, you set a record today.
I was like casually walking to work and I was like, oh, we have like 7 minutes. Okay.
That's called That's Al.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to this because there's a lot to talk about here. Leah Thomas has become the first openly transgender woman to win an NCAA championship. But her historic win is not without controversy, which is why we talk about it here. Leah won the 500-yard freestyle event, finishing nearly 2 seconds ahead of the swimmer who came in second. Now, during the podium ceremony, some people were heard booing and faintly cheering after Leah's name was announced, and Leah stood alone while the other medalists posed for photos off to the side. After, she told ESPN she just tries to drown out the negative noise. Take a look.
I try to ignore it as much as I can. I try to focus on my swimming, what I need to do to get ready for my races, and just try to block out everything else.
So former tennis star Martina Navratilova also weighed in on Leah's win, telling News Nation she has an unfair advantage. Watch this.
Well, it's not about excluding transgender women from winning ever, but it is about not allowing them to win when they were not anywhere near winning as men. And in the future, maybe it should be an open category for everybody, and then biological females.
So Twitter was divided on this one. One person said, quote, Leah has every right to be proud of her athleticism, her talent, and her accomplishments. But another wrote, quote, she's cheating. Many athletes who train very hard and just can't compete with certain natural-born differences. So we're going to go there. We're going to ask, what do you think about the negative reaction, but also about this in general? And I just want to ask this question. Can you be pro-trans in every single way, but sort of anti-Leah? Does that make sense to you?
The question makes sense.
Yeah, I'm really stuck here. I really want to be a pro-trans person, but I also feel a certain way just naturally watching that, and I want to be honest with our audience, but I don't know if that's an anti-trans stance.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to label, I think the wording of labeling her a cheater simply because of her identity is where we go wrong.
Yeah.
She followed the rules and won based on the rules. Now, I think biology and sports really matters. And so to ignore that is problematic. I think, and I looked over this a couple times in scientific papers that's shown that people that have undergone male puberty, they retain, I'm reading specifically, retain significant advantages in power and strength even after taking the medication to suppress their testosterone
Leah
levels.
did, right.
Exactly. So she followed all the specific rules. But if there's that chance of even an unfair advantage, then it becomes problematic to other women that have been competing in the sport and think that there's something that's off that won't be able to make this equal in some way. So I think when people are competing at a level, you have to make sure the playing field is exact, and it's kind of hard to do that if we're ignoring a specific part of biology.
I agree with you, but the other side would say she's taking specific transitioning women on testosterone treatment for 1 year before being considered. Her levels, they test their blood, the levels are the same. Do you agree with Lindsay?
I mean, it's what I always say, the law of unintended consequences, because I do agree with you. And if we're going to go with the science in terms of, having an advantage, okay, but then we have to apply that to all sports. We've seen athletes like A-Rod, who has been accused, I don't know if he was officially, but it is well accepted that he took steroids. He then signed a $250 million contract because of the advantage that gave him. So are we going to now go back or, moving forward, retroactively disqualify UFC guys that get popped for steroids all the time? Russia can't even call itself Russia in the Olympics because there is such a doping scandal going on. So if we are going to start getting into testosterone, okay, but I guarantee you it's going to affect an athlete that you care about more than any swimming. Because I don't think any person in this room can name any swimming record. So if we are going to go with the biology, which I have a degree in, which I am more than happy to, let's start going back, because I remember the 1998 home run race with Sammy Sosa and Mark McGuire.
Oh my God.
Who were walking around with veins coming out of their neck. It looked like the bottom of the trees from Avatar. And so if we're going to say that those are not, if we're going to go where it's not steroids, then fine. Let's just make sure it's all the way around.
Is it bad to equate being trans and having steroids?
Well,
having the advantage.
A physical advantage. It's a hormone advantage.
And I think that trans people have to come to the table on this conversation and be open-minded to have a discussion about how we figure this out.
Fair.
I say that with everything.
That's fair.
When people are talking about, okay, we're going to be lawmakers making rules for black people, it's like, okay, well, we're the one experiencing the disproportionate amount of stress, so let's talk about it and bring us to the table. So I think that trans people should come to the table and we should have a conversation and open up the dialogue in these sporting events and see what the fair way and a balanced conversation to have people who maybe disagree with allowing people to compete and agree with it and see where they stand if we have an open dialogue. And
I think that's
a place to start.
That's very, very fair.
I prefer yelling at each other on Twitter, but if you want to try it Lindsay's way, okay.
Just so you know, the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, they have new rules regarding trans athletes in the Olympics. You want to know? They are allowing individual sports to make the decision.
That's such a cop-out.
I know, they
feel
don't
like
want to make a
that's
decision.
such a
I agree.
cop-out to get away with it. You know, for you to maintain your status is like, I run everything, but when there's a real issue, Lindsay, you guys work that out amongst yourselves. What if our boss Bert or Lisa or somebody, you guys figure it out? Like, that's why you have
I agree.
higher-ups.
That's where the rules come from.
Right.
I know. I thought that was really interesting that it's up to.
When you said that, and I'm usually okay with people making their own decisions, and I'm really happy with everybody to do that. But when we talk about that, it made me immediately think about COVID and how we handle it. And everybody made their own decision, and look where we ended up 2.5 years later. So, yeah.
I called for a federal mandate from day one, and I still get yelled at. Still get yelled at. That's fair. That's what the show's about. Coming up on DBL, a couple with 18 kids tells us how they make it all work. Is it as chaotic as it looks? Probably. And Dr. Coley is here to play a little game of true or false with the latest medical headlines, so don't go away.
Closed captioning provided by
Do it. She's just the editor. Hey, you guys, we wanted to talk to Jure also. Hey, Jure, he is a cheerleader. You were like a very important cheerleader, and in the St. Mary's game, a ball, the basketball, got stuck up on the top of the hoop, and none of the players could get it. So what did they do? They go to the cheerleader. The man gets the girl. She gets on his, what is this? The shoulder. She walks over on his shoulder. She reaches up. She gets the ball. Biggest applause of the night. Cheerleaders.
It was a really cool moment.
Always. They always save the day,
Cheerleaders
man.
can do it. This was toothpaste. Thank you for helping.
Is that what it is?
I'm very
I was like,
thankful.
it's not coming off.
I'm very thankful. I usually have a whole system of how to get stains out of my clothes because I'm Tory. Jameson, do you need us?
Yeah.
Get rid of the plastic spoon.
Yeah, that does look kind of
I don't
good.
like that.
Okay.
You do that
do
a
the
lot.
mixing and then get it out of
Okay.
I don't think you should be mixing with the plastic. That's what a wooden thing.
Can I brief you all
Okay,
real
I'm
quick?
sorry, guys. Sorry.
Do we have
I love turtles. Yep.
Okay, so this,
of Kier.
this Dr. Coley segment is going to be a little bit different. Tori, you're going to be reading all the questions.
This is Jameson. Doesn't he look cool?
Shedding. after the baby.
You're going to be reading all the questions. We're going to start with a COVID question.
Okay.
And
What a
we're gonna-
surprise.
And then we're going to go into the true or false game. So you're going to ask a true or false question. All three of you are going to guess if it's true or false, and then Dr. Coley's going to review.
I like this.
Okay, do you want any commentary or just like?
No, feel free to make as much commentary as you want. I think because I think we're also a bit light on time.
Then he calls me after.
The answer is not in the prompter. Only Dr. Coley knows the answer.
So only a doctor.
Are you going to hold up a sign, or are they just going to say?
They're just going to say.
I was wondering what that true or false graphic up there was.
Someone goes,
when I was walking in this
haha,
morning.
Tory
I'm excited to play
spilled.
games.
I did
like
see,
fun.
yeah. And by the way, truth or dare, I'd like to play with Dr. Coley.
What?
Don't you think?
Who says that?
I think that game
I'm going to
is
take the dares.
the worst game.
Who says that?
No, I would take the
Welcome back. Paging Dr. Coley. Paging.
Man, that wasn't even a good
Dr.
paging
Coley.
sound.
Hello, it's Dr. Coley. I'm returning turning a page?
Thank you so much. We are so glad you are here. Now, guys, it's time to sort through the latest medical headlines to figure out what's real and what's not. But before we do want to know about this latest COVID variant. And I think it's like BA2.
BA2, the stealth variant. So you know
The stealth variant?
stealth variant.
Oh,
That
man.
sounds terrible.
Sounds like a bad guy in a movie,
It
right?
does.
Yeah. So I like to say I'm in a relationship with COVID, a bad relationship. I'm trying to break up with COVID.
Is there any other kind?
Well, we did have our honeymoon period, remember?
That's true, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm trying to break up, and COVID wants to keep getting back together. And every time it gets back together, it says, oh, I've changed. I'm a little different this
Oh, wow,
time.
that's
Let's
good.
try it again. So that's where I think we're at right now. We are back together like Ross and Rachel.
Oh.
And this is a BA2 variant. It's here in the U.S., 1 out of 4 cases or so. More contagious than Omicron, spreading more efficiently in households. But the vaccines work. So we're still going to use that. Some of our new medicines need to be updated, though, because they're not working as well.
Okay, but the vaccines work. Did you hear all that? The vaccines work on BA2, the stealth variant, coming soon to a theater near you.
like that.
I know, right? That does remind me of a movie.
Yeah, all right, we're gonna play a little game now. I'm gonna read a statement that's either true or false, and then we're all gonna guess either true or false.
Like, can you run through that again?
Yeah, let me take it down slowly.
What are the directions?
Okay, so once Dr. Coley is gonna give us the answer. You guys ready? So play
Yes.
along at home as well. All right, the first statement is, people shed hair seasonally. Is this true or false? So let's see.
Saying false.
False, okay, not true.
I'll say true. It seems like winter
think
time
it's
is a little
constant.
spices up a little more shedding for me.
Spices it up. All right, is this
And
true?
you have to vote, too.
Okay, I think I shed all the time. Okay.
So you have
very
to put
personal.
your money down, Tori.
I'm going to say
what is
it is seasonal.
Season. Okay, good.
True.
The girls have it right this time. Yes. So women, we shed more seasonally than men, but everybody sheds seasonally. It's worse in the fall than the spring. But essentially what happens to our hair follicles is kind of like what happens to our skin as it changes, right? When the season changes, our skin changes, the moisture changes. So the hair follicles can be sensitive to temperature, to humidity. So we start to lose, instead of the 80 to 100 hairs that we shed every day, we actually end up losing up to 150 hairs come spring.
Wait, but we shed every day. So I was right.
No, you weren't.
Oh, man.
No, you weren't.
Every day?
You weren't right.
Well, Dr. Al,
You weren't right.
You come second to Dr. Cole.
Yeah.
True. I'll take it.
Dr. Jackson. All right, let's try this one. More adults in their 20s are being diagnosed with colorectal cancer, colon cancer. Is that true or false? I know 2 people who have died from this. I am such a believer in spreading the word, so I say this is
My
true.
grandfather, absolutely, yeah.
True.
And I mean, obviously he's an older
grandmother as
person,
well.
but I would say true just because I'm assuming testing is probably up in a lot of people. So the more you test, the more you're going to find. So I'm going to say this is true.
Lindsay?
I'm going to say true also because I just don't want to be wrong. So I'm going to say
Like I'm
true.
already 1 for 1.
This time you guys all got it right.
Yes, okay.
So, you know, it's March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, and we have to know, guys, young people are dying from colorectal cancer. It's getting diagnosed earlier and earlier. So a new study came out saying the highest rise is in those 20 to 29. And unfortunately, Black and Hispanic people getting diagnosed much more than everybody else. And it's not, Al, because our tests are better. It's actually because we're getting more cancer. But it really begs the question whether we need to move up the screening. So I want to ask you guys, do you know when you need to get screened?
I think a colonoscopy, I believe, is 45.
It just changed to 45.
And I found that out the hard way. I thought it was 42. Obviously, at the time that I went in, it was 42, and they were like, it's not till you're 45, so I was too young.
Oh,
Nice.
I get that a lot.
Yeah,
but
right.
yeah, I thought that was strange.
You never say that. That's interesting. I know 2 people under 40 that have passed from this
Wow.
disease. So please be very, very clear about getting tested. Thank you for that. True or false, dementia and Alzheimer's are the same disease. I think that's false.
Yeah, I'm going to say false just because I think dementia leads to
Okay.
Alzheimer's.
Oh, that's, yeah, I'm going to steal her
I know
answer.
he's
Steal.
I was going to say
Al
it's
is
different.
copying off of
I was going to say that it's because I was thinking dementia seems like a state of confusion, and Alzheimer's seems like
disease.
an issue with your memory.
Like
That's what I'm
plaque and
saying.
stuff, yeah.
So yes, the answer is false, but not for any of the reasons that you guys
Let me make that. I have to be clear about that for legal reasons. You're all
If you say it firmly, it sounds like you know what you're talking about.
So the umbrella of the condition is called dementia, which means we're not thinking as clearly, we're not good at cognitive tasks, we're losing our memory, we're not good at math problems, at remembering things, at finding our way around, but many different things can cause it. Now, the most common cause of that umbrella condition is Alzheimer's dementia. So 60 to 80% of dementia comes from Alzheimer's, but there's other types, small little strokes you can have, Huntington's, Lewy body, many different genetic types of dementia that you can have. So it doesn't necessarily mean if you have dementia that you have Alzheimer's, but Alzheimer's is a type of dementia.
Is there a time where you should be looking for these? If you're like, oh, I forgot how to get to Lindsay's house, I've been there a lot, but you're 39, should you be worried? If you're 49, should you be worried? Like, when is that kind of weird?
If the pattern happens, Al, even young people in their 30s can have dementia.
Wow.
And that's another myth that people think it's only older people. Alcohol use, pollutants, lifestyle, genetics, all of this can lead young people. So
But what about just like mommy brain? Because I'm just forgetting stuff and I'm trying to figure out and make sure it's like
You're fine.
But if the pattern continues, like she
Person's been
said,
deprived
if
of
it's-
sleep.
Yeah.
If the pattern continues, and if it's things you recently learned, Lindsay, that you're forgetting, or long-standing things, or if other people are noticing that you're forgetting, then it's time to get a little memory test.
Ooh,
Okay.
wow. All right, thank you so much. That was really, really fun and also very educational. Knowledge is power, people. Knowledge is power. If you have a question you want answered by Dr. Coley, write us on social media, or you can also email us at info@dailyblastlive.com. We'll be right back, and that's true.
That was good.
Thanks.
Ukraine says it needs all the help it can get to fight against Russia, including more people. Ukraine's foreign minister posted a tweet with more than 45,000 likes that he also wants foreigners to join the fight, with some Americans responding that they're interested. So let's verify. Can Americans legally join Ukraine's International Legion of Territorial Defense? Our sources are the U.S. State Department, the Embassy of Ukraine in the United States, Amnesty International, and David Mallet, an associate professor at American University. So far, local media reports 20,000 soldiers from around the world have joined. The U.S. State Department says it's not illegal under U.S. law for people to go abroad and enlist in a foreign army, so long as you're not fighting against the U.S. The Ukraine Embassy says if you're selected, you'll need to supply all of your own equipment, like body armor, uniforms, and medical supplies. The only thing you can't bring is your own weapon. Then there's what happens once you're there. Mallet says historically, local commanders welcome the expertise and training of experienced fighters, but inexperienced soldiers have a 1 in 3 casualty rate. Amnesty International warns Americans who fight for other nations can be arrested on U.S. soil for war crimes or other incidents that happen on the battlefield. So it's true. Americans can legally join Ukraine's International Legion of Territorial Defense. However, a senior U.S. defense official said on March 11th that Americans should not travel to Ukraine under any circumstances, and instead recommends donating time or money to relief organizations. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
When it comes to kids, what's the magic number? Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 3? Should I keep going?
No.
For Desiree and Chris Spiegel, that number is 18.
You should have stopped before.
They are a blended family unlike any other, and earlier we spoke with them. Take a look.
I had a dream, you know, I wanted a big family. It was like my setup with him. I mean, I was like, I don't care how many kids you have, I still want to have my big family.
I don't think I actually knew what I was getting myself into, to be honest. I was like, yeah, absolutely, that sounds great. I decided we already had a big family because, you know, I came in with 8 and she had 3, so that's 11 right there. Every morning, the middle school kids, I drive them to the school, and then I come immediately back and I pick up the elementary kids. There's 6 of them. And then I drive them to the elementary school and then come back. And then usually have about an hour, then I gotta be at the office.
Groceries are at least, it's about $250 to $500 like every week. That's not including like if we go out to eat somewhere, about $200, $300.
The way she does laundry, each room brings down their own laundry. So
I used to do it differently, and so I got a little bit wiser. Now they bring their laundry down, run it through, bring it to your room. I don't want your laundry down here. Pretty much after cleanup is chore time, get ready for the next day time.
8 o'clock, shut her down.
Yeah,
Oh my
love
gosh,
it.
they have 18 kids ranging in age from 21 years old to 2 months old. Please welcome to the show Desiree and Chris.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, Desiree and Chris, I have so many questions from you. 1, who's watching the kids? 2, how do you make a reservation at a restaurant with 18? Oh my God.
And how are you smiling right now?
I can't do it with 2 kids. Desiree, you had 3 kids and Chris had 8 before you two had an additional 7. I gotta know, why did you want such a large family? Because I envy you guys. I can barely handle my 2 kids.
You know, I guess I just have this personal conviction that you just never know who you give birth to. And so I didn't want to be selfish, to be honest. There's so many women who cannot even have kids. You know, and it's their nightly cry, you know, to have one. So I thought, who am I to just make sure that I don't have any? So I've kind of just left it to, you know, destiny. Like what happens, happens. And when I feel like I'm done, I'm done. So that's kind of my heart.
Okay, before I ask my question, I just want to know, can I have your phone number? Because I have 2 kids, and when my wife starts complaining or we start going crazy, can I just call you guys and be like, is this okay? What are you guys going through? And then feel much better about what we're going through?
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
All right. This is just crazy
The
to me.
laundry got you.
Watching that whole package, I was like losing my mind over here. So, Chris, I want to get to the question. Before you met Desiree and you were a father of 8, how did the dates react to you eventually getting to that question, well, I have 8 kids? And then how did Desiree respond when you first told her?
I don't know. I don't know what they thought, to be honest with you. They just went with it. You know what I mean? I'm a good dad, and Desiree wanted a big family. So it was kind of a perfect match.
Sure is. Yeah.
I am curious though, because I'm one of 4, and we've had like 5 to 6 kids that have lived in our parents' home at the same time. And I can remember at least one of us at any point saying, I wish I was an only child. So do any of your kids ever use the I wish I was an only child?
A few times, yeah.
Yeah, it's been said once or twice.
I understand.
So many questions, guys. First of all, how do you have that many kids and there's no crayon or anything on the wall behind you? Like, my youngest would have just lit that up with a highlighter. Your house?
A lot of years of practicing. I mean, there's definitely parts in this house that look like Picasso made a pit stop, and you just. It's just always like coming right behind it. So
I get
as soon as it gets noticed, no permanent markers allowed in the house.
Boom.
Real quickly, I just got to know, how do you guys make time for each other?
Oh, good question.
Obviously you do, because there's 18, but
well, he didn't.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
How
do you?
I haven't slept more than 5 hours in 7 years. So, you know, we become creatures of night. Kids go to bed. That's when the huddle begins, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know.
Yeah, we know. We know.
I did say it's super creepy.
Al
I'm
said
sorry
it
about
very
that, guy.
creepy.
I'm happy that they still make time for themselves and that they're in love. I love that.
Okay.
I have
We
no shame in that.
appreciate you, Desiree
Yes.
and Chris. Thank you for sharing your remarkable story with us.
Sorry,
we'll
I
be
got
right
creepy
back.
at the end.
Thank you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
So 50 Cent is on a mission to uncancel Monique, and the Winslows reunited, but a family matter still needs to be addressed. Plus, black colleges have never looked so good. In this week's What Erica's Watching. Although he's not Slim Shady, 50 Cent's shade keeps on getting thicker and thicker. His latest celebrity beef includes Oprah and Tyler Perry. Now he's defending Oscar winner Monique, who recently broke her silence about being blacklisted. Now Monique feels like she deserves an apology, but 50 says he's going to put her back on the map regardless. Now 50 is finally using his power for good. However, bullying an apology out of Tyler and Oprah would likely require a magic stick. Just saying. So next, some of the cast of Family Matters got together for a photo shoot. But don't go getting too excited, because it seems that there's some family business that needs to be addressed before there can be an official reunion. Jo Marie Payton, aka Mama Winslow, says she was very hurt when her youngest TV daughter was written off the show, and that she won't be a part of anything official unless all of the Winslows are present, including Judy.
Hi guys. Oh, howdy doody, Judy.
You know the girl that went up to her room and never came back down? Now, although Steve Urkel is not a Winslow, there would be no hit show without him. So let's focus on getting Jaleel White to sign on first, shall we? And the iconic fashion brand Polo by Ralph Lauren launched a new preppy line featuring two of the most prestigious historically black colleges, Morehouse and Spelman. Ralph Lauren says that American style would be incomplete without representation like this. We know. This partnership also includes $2 million worth of HBCU scholarships. Now, I want to go back to school shopping. Can you do that if you're not a student? Okay, I'm gonna do it anyway. So share with me anything that catches your eye by using the hashtag DBL Erica Watch. We'll be right back.
Even if you didn't know what it was, you've likely seen the colorful images from India's most joyous and vivid festival, Holi. People across India have celebrated it for centuries. Its roots lie in Hindu legend, with the first mentions of the festival dating back to a 4th century poem. Also known as the Festival of Colors, Holi represents the beginning of spring and good triumphing over evil. It's also a day of forgiveness. The night before the festival, large bonfires are lit, signifying the burning of evil spirits. On the day of Holi, brightly colored powder is thrown into the air, covering people, streets, and buildings. Water balloons filled with colored water are also thrown from rooftops. Every color has a meaning. Red, for example, symbolizes fertility and love. Green symbolizes new beginnings. At the end of the day, families gather for festive meals, and sweets are shared among neighbors and friends. Holi typically takes place in March, but the exact date depends on the moon and the Hindu calendar. And that's connecting the dots. For 9 News Mornings, I'm Alexandra Lewis.
Welcome back to DBL. A lot of you writing in about the 18 kids. A lot of you saying after 2 pregnancies you were done. Lynn,
Don't even.
I just want to know, what do you think is the hardest part of having 18? You think when they start dating, like, what do you guys think is the hardest part?
Okay, one of my friends told me once the kids outnumber you, it doesn't matter if it's 3 or 18. Yeah,
that's what I've heard.
Is like you're outnumbered and just embrace it.
Just lean
I've
into
heard
it.
2 is doable, 3 is like, oh my goodness, what's happening? And then after 4, it's like, you might as well have 8.
Just let it go to the universe.
But they have a full football team, don't they? That's
really
amazing.
But then the older ones.
But the chances of one of them like taking care of you for life is like really up there.
Yeah, you're right.
Somebody's gonna be the billionaire here. Let's go.
Good call. A future Elon Musk. DBL is new every day. We will see you Monday, same time, same place. Y'all be safe. Be grateful. We are so grateful that you're here. Don't be a hater. We'll see you Monday.
Don't be a hater.
I said it. I said it.
That's a great sign off.
Chris said I